From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One ball, corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Azan Hajavandi
And Corey Clark.
I'll never get tired of seeing the bubbly just pour down that beautiful dome of Corey Clark. Man, Corey, look at you. I haven't seen your face on camera in a minute. I don't even recognize you. You look like you're, I don't know, Corey Clark Jr. or something, man. You look youthful and full of vigor in life, man. How do you feel? Do you feel as good as you look?
I do, but then I get my surgery on Monday, so I'm going to be laid up for a while. So I'm trying to enjoy it for the last few days here.
All right. Well, we are live right now. It is Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, all the questions from everybody on the YouTube and maybe some other stuff in between that's kind of trickled in from the Florida State news sphere here in the last few days or so. If you could, we would appreciate if you'd hit that thumbs up button on your screen. If you're watching us right now live on YouTube, if you're watching the replay, you can hit the thumbs up as well. Maybe leave a 5-star rating and review on your Apple device. Subscribe to our app. Go into the App Store, Droid, Play Store, whatever it's called. I got my iPhone, by the way, Corey. It's sitting on my kitchen island. I haven't opened it yet.
You got one. Welcome, man. All right. Good job, buddy.
For my boy Kirk Noel. I don't know if he's out there listening or not, but Kirk, I'm coming back to the dark side or whatever. I'm back in the produce aisle with the Apple phone. So I'll get that going up here sooner and then later. How was headlines the other day, Corey? What were you guys talking about?
A lot of expansion. We crushed it. We crushed it as usual. Kind of figured out ways to pay guys over the table, under the table. It doesn't matter. We just, you got to start paying players more. Just as much as you can. We got Heather Birch involved. We need to get Bill at CP involved. We need to get DeLuna involved. Just start paying these players, everyone.
Yeah. Shout out to our guy Ralph in Hawaii saying aloha, how's it? And then the man himself, the dude.
Guys, this is a very special occasion. The Godfather himself has been kind enough to grace us with his presence. The Godfather. This is his damn house. He lives there. He sleeps 20 feet away.
You hear that? Do you hear that? That's goodness. That's whole coffee beans. That's from DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. Go to delunacoffee.com. You can still use that promo code WARCHANT10. Get a 10% discount on your order. You can't go wrong with any of this stuff. What I'm doing now, Corey, is I was doing cold brew for a while, but apparently cold brew really extracts all the bean, like the caffeine, like all the and I don't need all that much in my life. So I'm doing just iced coffee. So basically I use half the water I was initially using, but then I just put ice in there so it waters it down, and it's not nearly as potent, but it's still delicious. It makes me feel good though. So
that's good to know. I'm glad I know that. I feel like everybody's happy they know that. And also DeLuna, it's by Noles, it's for Noles. So the money, all the money you give to DeLuna, it gets funneled back into the program. Let's put it that way. They're good boosters and good people.
Yeah. By the way, the promo code I goofed. It's Warchant 15. Ed's that generous. He's not like, I'll give you 10%. I'll give you 50% off your order. So support them, help them out because I'm live. We're live because of their great sort of assistance and help to us here on the show. All right. Let's see here. Not a lot. Let's go to this question right here. I haven't even read it yet, but it looks like it's a question. Everybody else is just saying hello to us. They miss us. It's Kyle. He's now in Charlotte, I think. Get down or lay down. The next on-field assistant coach at FSU needs to be A, ace recruiter, B, next-level developer of talent, C, X's and O's genius. Thoughts?
A. Always A. Always go A.
Okay.
Get players on this campus that can play. Okay. Jeff Bowden had Bolitnikoff finalist. He would have had a Heisman Trophy winner if not for Dillard's. Jeff Bowden was not a great developer of talent, but he had really good players to work with. So that's always my fallback when we're discussing what's more important.
All right. Our guy, Octavio Cedeno. So with all the recruiting annoyances and NIL conference stuff, I think I should have been a comma between NIL and conference stuff. What is the most optimistic aspect of all this? Paint that picture for us, Corey. That's not in my tool belt. Paint us an optimistic picture of what happens with NIL, recruiting, and conference realignment, I guess, if you're a Florida State fan listening and watching.
And I guess we can imagine 15 or 20 years down the road where it really is equal footing. all the people in the two conferences that are playing for a national championship legitimately have a shot to win a national championship, much like the NFL is now. If you get a good quarterback and a really good coach and draft well, within 2 or 3 years, you got a chance to win a title. That's how the league is wired. That's how the league is set up. Maybe in 15 years, if everybody's in this super conference and they're all making the same amount of money, and they all can pay players the same way, the footing becomes equal. There are not the haves and have-nots. It's only the haves. So you can cut some of the dead weight out, which would be great. But either way, if it's 35, if it's 40 teams, if it's 50 teams, if you get a good coach and catch lightning in a bottle, you should have a chance to win a national championship. I do not right now. You're talking about 6 to 8, maybe 10 teams at the best that have a legitimate shot every year to win the national championship. I think that triples in 15 years if the super conferences happen. Is that optimistic enough? Does that matter? Would people be fired up about that?
I mean, it's pretty practical. I mean, I guess it is optimistic too as well. I mean, I don't know how deep I want to dive into this stuff because there's so many dominoes. I don't know which one's going to be first. I don't know if it's these conferences determining what they want to cap at. Like, do they want to cap at 16? Because listen, if they're both at 16, that's 32. That's the NFL, everybody. The college football playoff contract, the television rights for that is going to be coming up in 2025. ACC's GOR is in 2036. Right now, as it stands, the Power Five from the TV contract gets something like $65 million to distribute to their member institutions. And then the rest, the group of five, they all get $95 million total to fight over. So if you're not part of the main crux of the college football playoff, you're not going to get that kind of payout. So how does that affect things? I mean, is really the ACC going to hold pat through a negotiation for the college football playoff? I mean, there are just so many different things in play, and I don't know which one's going to fall first. But then I just think about, like, as Florida State, like, if you're one of the 15 most successful programs of the last 40 years, how can you be left out? How could you possibly be left out of anything that's planning to create some sort of egalitarian battle for a championship in a sport that's, again, like, we've been probably the most consistent program of the last 40 years. But then you look at it and you're like, well, college football can go on without us. Like, they don't need us. I mean, you've got Texas and Oklahoma and LSU and Alabama and Georgia, and they've got all the brand names in Southern Cal and Ohio State, Michigan. They don't need us. So, like, all these conflicting things, and I don't know where it starts. I don't know where it ends. There's no way we don't have a clearer picture. I should say clearer picture. There's no way Florida State is in limbo in 12 months from now. There's no way we're still thinking grant of rights, wait it out. We'll see if there's going to have to be a door that opens, a window that opens, and we either get our hands shut in it or we crawl through it and we're on the other side of it like Andy Dufresne. I see a much closer
Andy Dufresne didn't crawl through a window.
Well, he crawled through something.
Is Florida State going to have to crawl through 2 miles of that? They might. I think Florida
Syracuse
State fans will be happy for it.
We got Syracuse coming to town every year. We got to go to Syracuse every year. That'll be our penance that we have to pay. Keeping things here on you folks on the YouTube. William McMillan throws a $5 super sticker at us. Hey, William, thanks for that.
It's been a minute, William. Thanks, buddy.
Let's go back up here to Wes from the Villages. I'll just read his question. We'll leave up William's name on the screen since he earned it. I mean, that's how it works, everybody. Pay for play. Kidding. We'll put Wes on the screen. What's up, fellas? What's up, Wes in the Villages? So I did some digging. Cameron McDonald has appeared in 45 games, so he's one ahead of the trench monster. That would be Robert Cooper. Just looking out for my guys. Keep up the great work. Go Noles.
So is it going to come down to those two guys as far as who all-time games played in Florida State history? It's got to, right? It's going to be a race. You know what I mean? I wonder if Cam McDonald, say he has an injured ankle going into the Florida game, can't play. Do they put him out for when Jordan Travis goes in the victory formation for the 33-10 win, and he's just going to take a knee? Did they let Cam McDonald come out for one play, stand near the sideline just to get that games played in there? Or do you want them to tie? Maybe it'd be more apropos if they tied for it. But look, man, those two guys have a chance to play 57 or 56 games. That's crazy. I can't believe Cam McDonald's played 45 games. Oh, well. He's had a couple memorable moments.
What's your favorite catch, everybody? Let us know in the comments. What's your favorite Cam McDonald catch of the 45 games he's been
I feel like he had an impressive touchdown last year where he bowled over a couple of people. Now, if he'd have done it in 1994, I'd remember how many yards it was, who it was against, what the score was. But since it was last year, it's out. It's on the other side of my brain. But yeah.
Oh, here we go. We're back, man. Here, look at this guy.
What? Let's go, James. I just got my voice back. Take it.
James B, $200, stepping up like he always does. I love the photo. I can't quite tell what it is. Is it a sunset?
Just a Pensacola sunset, buddy. I think
Okay.
it's just a good old-fashioned Pensacola sunset.
My eyes are terrible. It kind of looks like a bomb going off.
It does.
Now that I see it, it is a Pensacola sunset. James B, you're the best. Can't wait to see you in I don't know, 6 weeks, I guess. We're getting that close. Are we that close to LSU? 6 weeks till we head to New Orleans, Aslan?
Yeah.
Probably, right? Yeah.
By the way, it looks like Ed confirms he's in on the NIL player acquisition front. So
There we go. Hey, we're all in this together.
it's YouTube.
Just know, everyone, part of James B, the money you give us, William McMillan, it's all funneled. We're giving it to. It's happening with us too, everyone. It's happening with us too. We all want Florida State to be good.
Man. By the way, a lot of people wishing you best wishes on your upcoming procedure, Corey, your up surgery. Also complimenting that you look ready for the Men of War Chant calendar shoot. Look at you.
Somebody told me I look like Steve Austin, Stone Cold. So if you want to get me an Austin 316 T-shirt, I'll wear it.
Instead of champagne, when we beat LSU, maybe just some beers, just crack.
Shotgun a couple of beers.
Ask Corey. William McMillan says he did throw us $5 earlier. Do we beat Miami this year?
Sure, sir. I don't know. I it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Hopefully maybe that quarterback gets hurt before that game or something. That's gonna be a tough one, but not impossible. It's not like Miami's world beaters. It's not like it can't happen. You're not playing the 2000 Miami team, so you can go down there and win that game.
All right, Brandon Knight's asking, given that there will inevitably be two major conferences, what do we name them?
Leaders and legends. Yeah, that's what Stephanie really gets tripped up about the Big Ten. She's like, wait, so they just added 2 more teams? Are they going to be the Big 12 now? And I'm like, no, they actually already had 12 teams. She goes, okay, so they're going to be the Big 14? And I'm like, no, it's kind of the brand. They're the Big 10. Like the Big 12 only has 10 teams. The Big 10 only has 12 teams. And that's when she said college football is dumb. And I agreed with her. But yeah, I don't know what you can't call it the SEC and the Big 10 if all these other schools join. Like Notre Dame. What if Notre Dame says they'll come to the Big 10, but only if you call it, I don't know, the Rockney division? Does Big 10 take them? Probably not. They don't need that much money. The ACC would do it in a heartbeat. The ACC would rename it Notre Dame Conference if they decided to come. But I don't know. I don't know what we'd do.
A fellow by the name of Tom Lang says 50-foot putt off between you and I. We're 50 feet from the cup. 1 putt, no practice. Closest to the hole wins. Year supply of corner pocket wings. Year supply of DeLuna. Which one of you takes home the title?
Well, see, normally I would say me, but then Aslan apparently made about a 60-foot putt at that tournament to get a birdie, and his foursome went nuts. So maybe, I mean, Aslan did it with some real pressure on him. That was a big putt, and so yeah, I would say maybe Aslan. I like putting's my strength. Yeah, I'm not good at it, but I'm better at putting than anything else in that stupid game. But I think Aslan would take me.
Shout out to Tom Lang. He's been up for like 20 hours in a row watching the British Open, doing stuff for Warchant, Jeff Cameron show. All of his
British
work.
Open hadn't started yet, has it? That's tomorrow.
Oh, it's Wednesday. What am I talking about? Well, he's like watching the press conferences and stuff, and he's that dialed in. He's watching the all 22, everybody, of Duquesne's last 30 games to get you ready for that game. All right?
Yeah.
So just
can't get that anywhere else, everyone.
You can't get this anywhere. Look.
Corey, I've been ill for a week. I've been ill. I can't do this for much longer. But let's go.
Everybody just know that's in a roundabout way, this money is going to land an offensive lineman somehow or a quarterback. It all goes into the kitty, one way or the other. I'm saying in a roundabout way. Shane, you're the man. You know that. I couldn't even hear the horn, Aslan.
We're not even 20 minutes into the show.
You got choked up.
A little bit of the vid still kind of, in my upper respiratory tract here. Shane, by the way, I got an iPhone. I haven't hooked it up yet, but just so you know. By the way, maybe we've already bought an offensive lineman, Corey, huh? They've been pulling them left and right. Maybe we've assisted in these efforts, perhaps.
Well, didn't you say? And Shane, you are the best. I do not want to dismiss that. That's awesome. That it's just always awesome. You really have done more than enough. It's awesome that you keep doing that. Can't wait to see you and Michelle somewhere in New Orleans. I think Stephanie's already organizing something. And we also got to figure out what we're doing for the War Chant thing. We got to do something on Saturday, even if it's in my hotel room. We're doing something for all the War Chant people on Saturday before the game. We're going to have a meet and greet or just a meet up or a drink up, whatever we're going to be doing somewhere on Saturday. We'll keep you guys posted. But Shane, you're the best. Tell Michelle I said what up. But, what I was going to say is, what was I going to say?
I don't know, but real quick, our guy Rocket City Nole has left Huntsville and moved to Chattanooga. Joseph Hardaway, he would like to be called now Ice Cold Nole. Rocket City Nole is pretty cool, though, but we'll go with Ice Cold Nole.
But why Ice Cold? Is that a nickname for Chattanooga? Or is that just him?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like Rocket City Nole, it's because he was in Huntsville, right? In Huntsville where the Rockets are and the space camp and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Ice Cold Nole is an awesome name. Don't get me wrong. I just wondered if there was any reason with geography reason for the change of nickname. I wish I would remember what I was saying, but I can't.
I wish I could rewind.
Oh no! I remember now. So the kid they just got, Lucas Simmons, right?
Lucas Simmons, yeah.
So I asked Ira, and you kind of know about this too, right? Like that might be one of the reasons right now, anyway. That NIL doesn't really come into play with someone like that, right? Because he's a foreign kid. He's from Sweden, and their NIL rules are different, correct?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the angle that Leonard's using right now with basketball, right? And that's why I went after Bob Miller, was able to get him. But I mean, I'm sure there's got to be people involved that could maybe hold on to the money for you, possibly.
Yeah. Hey, just come meet us on Bourbon Street, Lucas. I'm sure you'll be there for the game. Come meet the War Chant crew on Bourbon Street. We'll hand you some cash.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that?
I mean, whatever. What are they going to do? Who's going to do anything? The NCAA
Who's going to do anything? And prove it. Prove it, everyone. Prove it.
All right. GVO Jalen. That means good vibes only, kids. If we beat LSU, how much does that mean to the program?
A lot. It would be their biggest. Mainly because I don't think it's going to mean they're going to have a 10-win season, because I don't think LSU is going to be very good. I don't think it means there's a championship in the offing, but I think it's big because it's going to be a game that everybody sees. Just like, in a weird way, it didn't turn out to work out this way, but that Notre Dame game was a great night for Mike Norvell, even though they lost, because it showed how much strides they had made in 1 year. And there was real excitement again around the program. Certainly it crashed down to earth the following week, but for that one night, it was a great display of what this program was, what that stadium could be. And I think if you go into New Orleans and beat LSU, it's not, they better, who was it that said Texas is back?
Joe Tessitore.
Yeah, he better not be calling the game. And if he does, if it's foul or whoever, he better not utter the words, the Noles are back. That's just ridiculous. But it'd be a really nice sign that the Noles are on their way back. You know what I mean? Because that's a big win. It's a marquee game. Not two great teams in 2022, but two big names. A lot of people are going to be watching on that Sunday night. If you have a good performance, that's huge. It's just huge for the vibe of the fan base too.
That, and then what? We have like a quasi bye week or whatever coming out of that before we get Louisville. So
yeah, I think so. Right? Yeah. Yep.
Build off of it. Feel that much better. I'm actually trying to find the mashup I did of Tessitore after the North Carolina game in 2020 when I thought we were back. But that's probably going to take too long. Maybe I'll come back to it later on in the show. Thanks for the question there, GVO Jalen. Good vibes only, Jalen. Shout out to the big homie Quay Watts. His birthday's Friday. Go Noles. I love you guys. 9-10 win season.
It's a big fish. Is that a shark?
Yeah, it looks like a shark. Yeah.
That's a what is that? A 4-footer? 3.5 feet? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, well, happy birthday, Quay. Happy birthday, buddy. Hope you're gonna celebrate with people you like.
Ooh, how about this guy? He's back, everybody, but we'll give him a little bit of this.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Ed Lemix, DeLuna Coffee, you already know. Promo code WARCHANT15. It's in the top right corner of the screen above Corey's beautiful noggin. If you like coffee, you'll love this stuff. I can guarantee it. Everybody go like Champions Collective on Instagram. Ooh, we have another collect. Ooh, not just Rising Spear. There's two. Our NIL to be announced very soon. You heard the man, everybody. If you've got the Instagram, go check out Champions Collective. Pretty cool that we can use that name, right? Because plural, multiple sports, just doing what we do.
Yeah, 3 times champions. Yeah, good luck with that, Ed. That's nice. It's always good to have options. A competition breeds success, I think. So that's always good. So good luck, man. And yeah, everybody go like it.
Speaking about the 3 championships, I was watching the 30 for 30 the other night that they put on, which is very prescient. They probably should just put it on every other day, but about the Big East Conference, the 30 for 30, and how it rose and fall, and a lot of parallels. But then they talked about how football came in and ruined everything, and they showed a clip of the Virginia Tech championship game that we took them out in, and it wasn't even a touchdown that Michael Vick had, but like he flipped the ball off on an option and they scored, and just like the pursuit angles, it just. And I felt so old because I'm like, I thought that 99 team was just absolute monsters everywhere, just savages, just running amok, winning. And I'm like, they look pretty slow. I'm like, the 13 team, just funny how evolution works. And we keep talking about how like this, no one's going to beat the 62 Crimson Tide. Bears' best team would take out. No, it's incredible how far it's just incredible how far the sport has come in. And that was a long time ago, though, 1999.
I mean, it was a pretty good defense, though. It had Derek Gibson and Mario Edwards, I guess. And one of those, somebody didn't play in that game. They got hurt in pregame warmups. One of the defensive, Corey Simon, one of the DBs. Corey Simon, they had some Darnell Dockett maybe was on that team, maybe, or he was 2000. I used to know all that stuff, everyone.
Yeah, it was too.
But it's hard to compare him to the 13 team because the 13 team had, Joyner, Terrence Brooks, Jalen Ramsey. I mean, those are freaks athletically.
Gator Kirk, with his own brand of optimism sometimes, like is a mixed bag here. What happens first? FSU announces they're leaving the ACC or Alex Atkins leaves for another school. Corey, best of luck on Monday.
Thank you, Gator Kirk, and thank you everyone else for the well wishes. It's laparoscopic. It's supposed to be a piece of cake. I've talked to most people, and they say it's no problem at all. I should be back up and at them in 3 to 5 days. So that's what I'm hoping for. I would guess, man. I guess the smart money would be on Atkins, right?
Yeah,
because you got to feel like that would be in a couple of years if this thing gets going, if this offense turns into what we all hope it can be, then yeah, he's going to be a very attractive head coaching candidate. Florida State needs to, man, they need to keep him locked and loaded. But yeah, I would still say even if great things happen for Florida State here soon, I don't think they're announcing their leave anytime in the next couple of years. I just don't think that's the way this would work. I don't think that's the timetable for this right now. The ACC is a different ball game than the Pac-12.
Does the offense have to really even look good, though? Has he not really or I guess you're saying pretty much the only way he leaves, which makes sense, would be for a head coaching job.
Yes.
But he's recruiting so well that, you could probably look past it. It's Mike Norvell's calling the plays. If he's recruiting good players, and he's going to smash any interview he goes into, so I
mean, you can't. I don't know how you sell it to your big money people that. Oh, who are we getting? You're getting a head coach with no experience. Oh, but he's an OC. Okay, how'd they do on offense? Well, they were 71st in the country. I don't know. That's how you sell that. Like Mike Norvell got the job because they were like second in the country.
Yeah, but he's not going to go. I'm not saying his first job's going to be at a Power 5 school, but I'm saying like, what if? I don't know, like what if Southern Miss tanks? Like, Southern Miss, you don't think he would take the head coaching job at Southern Miss?
I mean, has that worked out for people? I mean, I'm being honest. I don't know. I'm sure there have been some. I know one of them way back when got the LSU job, but it doesn't feel like Southern Miss is a great stepping stone typically. I feel like you wait it out and you become a really highly sought after ACC coordinator, and then you get a Power 5 head coaching job. That's what I'd wait for, but I'm not Alex Atkins. And I'm probably saying that selfishly because I want him to stay.
I'm gonna say push. I think they both happen the next year. There's no.
Oh my gosh, what?
I guess
you think Atkins is leaving in a year?
He's going to be the offense. They're going to win 8 games. He's going to be able to write whatever he wants in his bio. His agent's going to be able to write. They went from 3 wins to 5 wins, and then the year that he was the offensive coordinator, they made their biggest jump in win totals, winning 8 games, knocking off Miami and number 17 Clemson. And yeah, that's going to be.
Okay, you've already written his story. Nice.
Listen, I
and you think the FSU's leaving? FSU's leaving in a year too.
Well, they're announcing it. They're going to announce it. This is what happens first, but they announce.
Okay.
There's no way Florida State can go 2 years. Florida State can't even go 2 years with we're gonna hang tough in this thing, even if Notre Dame comes to this conference. I
don't think they're ever gonna. Michael Alford's never gonna say something like that. We all know he's trying, but I don't know that just because he really wants to go, that in a year it's gonna be we've got somewhere to go, we've got a landing spot. But I mean, could be, but I don't know that I believe that.
Well, it's not Florida State alone. I mean, I think enough things will be falling apart around them, or there's going to be an opportunity that presents itself where it's not just Florida State, but whatever schools want to get out of this alliance or whatever we call it in the ACC right now. We're like, all right, man, we figured it out. We think we can get away with it. We're leaving. This is it. That's a wrap on it. So I don't know. I'm thinking the next year. I could be wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of things.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Not the important stuff, though.
Right.
Not the important stuff. Ted Harris, how many schools does it take to dissolve the ACC? 8. Needs to be
sounds like a riddle.
A supra majority, or not super majority, like a supra majority, some kind of fancy legal Eastern. But yeah, it needs to be at least more than half. It needs to be at least 8 schools. So we'll see how that goes. Arthur Johnson, has Destin Hill arrived on campus yet? I do not think so. We haven't really put that one to bed. We probably should at some point, but yeah, not quite yet. All right. GVO Jalen says Micah Pittman, Jordan Travis might score first. Okay, that's probably pretty likely. Let's go to James B. Not James B. I'm sorry. Our guy Jay in Daytona Beach. Jay Blast on YouTube. Howell, Sam Howell, Jeff Sims, Luke Altmaier, Chris Parson. It's Parson. It's singular. Is that a trend? 4 years straight. Coaches change, but reputation supersedes FSU. Look at the big picture. He loves himself some Dion. Like Coach Prime and Saban did in their new commercial, or nothing changes. Well, I will say this. Sam Howell ended up being really good, and that wasn't on Mike Norvell's watch. Yeah. Jeff Sims, I don't know. I don't know if this is the point you're trying to make here, Jane Daytona, but Jeff Sims hasn't turned out all that well, so I don't know how that reflects poorly on Mike Norvell or even well, because, again, Chubba Purdy's not here, and, Tate hasn't done anything. I mean, Luke Altmaier's pretty much gotten recruited over, and that was his golden goose. I mean, he put all of his chips on that kid, went on him day one, all in. He was committed, and then he ends up going to Ole Miss, and he got recruited over. They got Jackson Dart from Southern Cal. And Chris Parson, I mean, I don't know. We'll see where he ends up. So I don't know where we're talked about maybe his evaluation skills of quarterbacks. We still haven't seen him evaluate a guy and knock it out the park yet. But all the quarterbacks he had in Memphis were quite productive. So I will hope that he finds somebody similar to that in Memphis.
Weren't all those guys committed to Florida State for like a year at least? Right?
Yeah,
in the neighborhood, like it is odd. I get what Jay's saying. Like, I don't know if that's, and he's even saying it's the coach, it's coaches change, but the reputation supersedes FSU. Like, it's not just Norvell and it's not just Taggart, but that is 4 years in a row of losing the guy that's been recruited to you, that's been committed to you for like a year at that position. It's bizarre. I don't know if they're recruiting over Parson. I don't know if he thought that the other kid is going to commit and he didn't want to. I don't know. But that's I get why that would be at least, I don't know if troubling is the right word, but a little bit frustrating or worrisome. Like, what's going on that a kid always commits to Florida State as a junior and then doesn't follow through? The biggest name recruit that they've landed at quarterback in the last 4 years was a kid they got on signing day who had been committed to Louisville for a year. And he's not even here anymore. He's a backup in Nebraska. That's it. So, yeah, it's odd. It's odd. But they're not done recruiting quarterbacks, so let's see how that lands. But it's been there's no other way to say it, man. It's been woeful around here at that position, recruiting lately. Woeful. Since Francois, I guess. It's just been tragic what's happened here. There's been nobody. And I say that, look, Jordan Travis is a transfer. They didn't even go after him. So it's just not been good at all at that position. And I don't know if you guys know this, but that is a pretty important position.
I know.
It'd be nice to get somebody really good there.
That Dante Moore kid from, I think, Detroit, who'd been to Tallahassee twice, I think, on visits. You know, there's a little bit of flirtation that ends up cooling off. Oh, he's going to go to Michigan. He commits to Oregon, you know, and
dilly.
Yeah, man, that's I don't know. That's making me feel a little bit down right now. I don't want to feel down. What do you think about the 3 guys they're bringing to kickoff, by the way, Corey, which you won't be at, but all of us, the rest of us pretty much will. Fabian, Jamie, Jordan Travis. I mean, none of them were recruited to Florida State out of high school. But I guess it just shows where we're at in this day and age. But
but I mean, Jordan and Levitt have been here 3 years, right? Going on 3 years, and
4 for Jordan, 3 for Fabian.
That's right. And then Jamie will be a second. No, they're good ambassadors for the school, man, and they're good players. So I that didn't surprise me. Who'd you want them to bring? Who'd you think they'd bring?
I mean, I was, maybe bring Robert Scott, but maybe this shows you that you feel better about your defense. And otherwise, on the defense, I don't know. I mean, might have been nice to bring Amari, but I don't think Amari's like a starter. So, why would you bring somebody that's...
No, I mean, Jamie Robinson's first team All-ACC. Lovett was honorable mention All-ACC. And Jordan Travis is your starting quarterback. Those are 3 of your bigger names. And you can't bring, Bethune or Jared Verse.
No, I don't. I'm saying I don't want to bring... I was just trying to think of guys that actually committed and been here for
Cooper,
4 years.
Big Coop, maybe?
Yeah, but, he's too candid. I think Fabian will scare everybody, so you won't have to answer a lot of questions,
Smart.
So. Quay, it's your birthday, Quay. Why are you giving us doll hairs? Crazy, Quay. It's not the way it works. But
thanks, Quay. Did he ever answer? Did they ever answer what the how big that fish was?
I don't think he did. He did. But Quay, let us know what position you want that money to go towards. We'll earmark it.
Right. Exactly.
We'll earmark it.
Who can, Quay? Who can?
Okay, let's see what else we got here. What's more likely to happen, Trayshawn Ward 30-yard rushing touchdown or Winston Wright with an 80-yard touchdown?
I would say Ward, probably, right? He's had those before. I mean, 80-yard touchdowns they don't happen all that often. And we know for sure Trayshawn's going to be playing. We're still not sure on Winston, although Ira keeps saying that they feel really good about Winston Wright's recovery and not only playing this season, but playing earlier in the season than anybody would have thought 2 months ago. So that's very, very encouraging. He was the guy, man. He was the biggest guy they got. He was the biggest name they got in that receiving core. And then he didn't practice in the spring, and then he had that horrible accident.
I don't know if that's Yen. I don't know if it's the first. Have we ever gotten Yen before? But
What?
odds, I think he gave it 610 yen.
Okay.
I still don't know that. Is it? Anyhow, the odds of a post-op Corey medicated starting trolling the ACC kickoff and Jeff Cameron.
Does that mean that Brandon Knight is in Japan, I assume? If that's yen?
I would think so.
I wonder if you could be in another country and spend yen. Do you have a yen account on YouTube? I wonder how all that works. Brandon, let us know. Reach out to the show. So when do you go up, Aslan, for media day, for ACC kickoff?
That's a good question. Man, what is going on in Japan? Look at that. That's horrible. That's how 1 yen is. What is that? 7,000ths of an American dollar?
Or maybe, 700? Yeah, 7,000ths. Well, look, man. Hey, dollar strong. We all know that.
I thought so I don't know. So apparently Florida State's going first. They're Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
The Atlantic's going first, according to that email that we got today. So I'm guessing we'll probably be up there on Tuesday, so we're in place when we wake up Wednesday to hit the ground running for kickoff. So yeah, Florida State and the rest of the Atlantic take their rotation on Wednesday, July 20th.
I hope that by Wednesday, maybe I'm not medicated. Maybe just Monday and Tuesday, and by Wednesday I got my senses about me. So it'll just be regular trolling. It won't be medicated trolling. But yes, after the column I wrote 2 weeks ago about all the things I'd miss about the ACC, on top of making fun of the ACC network a year ago, I don't think they're upset that I'm not going to be there. I don't think they like me that much up there. But you know what? I speak the truth, everyone. I write the truth. The ACC kind of sucks.
Thank you, Brandon Knight. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. And how'd you get to Japan? What's the story there?
I was about to say, should I FaceTime you and then maybe you can ask questions over the phone? Like if we got our booth back on Radio Row?
No, that's okay, man. You don't have to do that. Come on. We got a lot of other pros up there going with you.
All right. Philip Pettis. What is more likely? FSU's offense being top 5 in the ACC or their defense being top 30 to 40 in the country? Good question, Philip.
That is a good question.
Did you see Big Game Boomer? What they said about us, Corey?
No.
I don't want to link it. Good for that person, whoever they are. They just make list after list, and it just gets so much traction on Twitter. It's incredible. They've got hundreds, maybe hundreds of thousands of followers. But somebody tagged us in a tweet that they said like the top defenses for 2022, and they had Florida State as like 18th or 19th on their list.
Okay. So with no reason for it, just a list?
Just a guy, big time Oklahoma guy that just, tweets out
lists. It's like that nonsense they do on Twitter all the time where it'll say, these are the most popular snacks in each state.
Yes.
And somebody will have what's that corn
almond
crap?
Joy, like almond joy,
or almond joy, or what's the corn crap they have at Halloween?
Oh, candy corn.
Candy corn. Nobody likes candy corn in a whole state. That'll be there. It's like, man, y'all are just making that up to get retweets. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no methodology to how they came up with it. It's just, let's put a Reese's peanut butter cup in Florida. Let's put an almond joy in Washington. Let's put candy corn in Nebraska, and just watch these idiots retweet us and make fun of the list. That's all they want. That's a really good question, Philip. I'm going to say defense. I think the defense can crack the top 40.
Yeah. I'm going to say the offense, but then I just think about all these quarterbacks. I like these quarterbacks. I
just feel like the defense, the last 2 months of the season, that defense was essentially a 38-40 type defense. It was right in that wheelhouse. It was just so bad at the beginning until halftime in the Louisville game. That offense was never top 5 in the ACC. Even when it was humming, it was never top 5 in the ACC. So that would be a pretty big leap, I think. But hey, could happen. It could happen.
Carol Palalis, our collegiate football national title is the most recent one in the state of Florida. Think about that. Why wouldn't the SEC or Big Ten want us? Which I put this on the screen because some factual errors in the last program. We had talked about the Big Ten only winning one national title here in the last 20 years or whatever.
Who'd I miss?
Well, the Craig Krenzel, the robbery in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So 2
and then also Michigan's half title in 97.
No, I was talking about that. That's what I was going back to, was the 97 one.
Yeah.
So since 97, I thought they had only won the one in 14. But yeah, that's right. They hey, nobody watching this program is upset about the Ohio State win over Miami in 2002 or whenever that was.
Carol, I'm with you again. If you're creating a super conference that's tailored for one sport, why would you not have this institution in it? I guess it makes no sense.
You know what's crazy though, especially I could understand the SEC being like, well, what do we need them for? We already got the state of Florida. We got the flagship state in the program in the state of Florida. We killed the South. All our ratings are the South. We don't. Yes, Florida State, Alabama, or Florida State, Tennessee would do big ratings, but all our games do big ratings when they're good teams. I would never understand why the Big Ten wouldn't come after Florida State and Clemson. I mean, I get the AAU thing. I talked to Ira about it. That's supposedly a really big deal to have that AAU distinction as a university with research money. That's a big deal for the Big Ten, which is ridiculous. Those days are over, everyone. Presidents, you can't worry about that. You need to worry about eyeballs and ratings, not AAU certification. But I said that word weirdly. But Nebraska doesn't have it anymore. Nebraska had it when they joined the conference, but they're not AAU certified anymore. They weren't kicked out. And Florida State's trying to get it. But my point being, it would make a lot of sense, man. Imagine the Big Ten with Michigan, Ohio State, USC, Florida State, Clemson, and Wisconsin, and Miami maybe, and throw in Notre Dame. All of a sudden, the SEC gets scared. The SEC is like, well, crap. They got some monster football programs. They're a bigger deal in this sport now than we are. Because Florida State and Clemson, yeah, I know Florida State hasn't been good lately. Give them some Big Ten money and see what they do real quick. And think about the eyeballs and the ratings you'd get for some of those Florida State, Michigan, Florida State, USC, Clemson, Ohio State. Those games would be enormous. And all of a sudden, the SEC may be a second fiddle. I think the Big Ten would want that footprint. I think they'd want to get into the South. It just would. And so my point being, once the Big Ten makes the first volley towards those two teams, and they would be idiots if they didn't. If they actually want to compete for championships and eyeballs and ratings, they would be idiotic not to go for Florida State and Clemson. Once they do, then all of a sudden the SEC becomes interested in Florida State and Clemson because they'd rather have them than the Big Ten have them. And I think you can play them off each other is what I would think. That's how I eventually think this goes. But who knows when that'll be? Hopefully I'll be alive.
The cynic's perspective is, first off, I mean, they haven't signed their TV deal. They haven't re-upped their TV contract at the Big Ten, but it's most likely going to be all in with Fox. So at that point, will ESPN allow their property, which they own us? I mean, they own our rights till 2036. Will they let us leave to go and help Fox make more money? And then
you'd have to pay. You'd have to pay.
I know the exit fee would be crazy, and then they still own your rights. But if they somehow figure out a way to get out of that, that opens up a door, obviously. But then the part of adding us to the SEC is ESPN goes, all right, listen, we'll give you guys we'll give you guys $20 million more a year as a conference if you add Florida State. But then that becomes $1.3 million for each 17 schools in that conference or whatever. So is the University of Florida going to be like, let's bring in Florida State so that we all can make $1 million more? Like, hey, I can't even think of another school at this point. Like, hey, Georgia, would you be cool with us adding Georgia Tech and helping them out?
It's not like Texas A&M wasn't cool with Texas.
I know.
So it probably wasn't cool with Oklahoma either, but it still happens. I mean, sometimes you got to do what's good for the conference. I get it with the grant of rights is it's just, who knows how it plays out, but I couldn't imagine why the Big Ten would not, under every circumstance, be trying to get those two schools, because that makes your football relevant. You've had one school win a national championship in the last 25 years. See how I adjusted it now, Aslan? I didn't say it was just one championship, but it's one school winning a championship the last 25 years. You would be adding, two teams that have won 5 in that span or 4 in that span? If you add Miami, that's 3 that have won 5 or 6 in that span and played for 8 or 9 others. It would, the Big Ten, that Michigan-Georgia game was a joke. You can't compete. I think that Florida State and Clemson, when they get Big Ten money, would compete, and they would make that conference very viable for championships again.
Again, just to counter your counter of mine.
Quit countering me. I'm tired of it. This isn't wrestling.
I know. Like the SEC and the Big Ten have always been up here, and then they reset the bar by adding 2 programs, by adding Southern Cal and UCLA, by adding Texas and Oklahoma. So it's like you're getting really close to that ceiling where I think you get diminishing returns where, I don't know, maybe if you can get Florida State and Miami, then you hit another stratosphere to where it makes financial sense, where all the schools are like, all right, we're all going to make $6.5 million more if we add both of these schools. But again,
isn't one of the goals too to compete and win championships? UCLA does nothing on that front. They have not competed for a championship since Gary Bebon was winning the Heisman over O.J. Simpson in '67, and then O.J. won it the next year, and then really haven't heard anything about O.J. since. Pretty good pro career. Oh, actually, we were talking about him the other show, right, Aslan, about the blood splatter?
Splatter, yeah.
Blood splatter and slash spatter. So yeah, I mean, UCLA is all about being hitched to USC and the eyeballs that come with them. But they're not going to. They've had 50 years of nothingness. They're not going. They're not anything in this sport. They don't have a lot of halves in the Big Ten in football. They need some
cheap though. You got them on the cheap though. Because their media rights were coming up and.
No, I get it. But I mean, you still don't. You don't want You don't want the SEC just to dominate the sport for the next 15 years. You'd like to make some inroads there.
And the other thing is, we keep mentioning the NFL model, and we'll get to. We have some good questions I want to get to. I mean, the NFL model is held together by 32 owners and a commissioner. There is no overlord. College football is so fractured, and no one's looking out for the greater good. At the end of the day, Roger Goodell can get all these 32 rich dudes on the same page. But, you got Kevin Warren and his 16 schools, and then you got Greg Sankey and his 16 schools, and they've got weird sort of incestuous relationships where they'll help this team, but they don't want to help that team. And there isn't that sort of unified response that, the NFL has. So that's another thing that we sometimes maybe don't factor in. Casey Owens, with this year's schedule, would you rather go undefeated in August and September, the month of October, or November? I'll pull up the schedule right now because I don't memorize it any longer. I don't know when that started happening, but I don't memorize it anymore. Maybe now that's like my job. November. Yeah, November. You got Miami and Florida. Game over. Thank you for coming, Casey. Next question.
I mean, beating NC State and Clemson would be pretty darn nice, though, right?
I don't stop caring about Clemson. Stop it.
Be pretty big. Hey, you might, if you beat NC State and Clemson, you might be playing in Charlotte. You're going to win the Atlantic. That's a pretty big deal. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, you're right. The answer is November. It's a good question, though.
It is a very good question. We like you, Casey. I think you got another one later here we'll get to. Here's Mark, everybody. He's golfing, living life.
Old Matt AMCZ.
All right. M. Adam. He's not mad. He's happy.
I say Madam.
Yeah. Oh, wake up.
Oh, boy. Look at Aslan powering through this.
How nuts do you expect ACC Kickoff to be next week, and what questions will you ask? Corey, best of luck with the gallbladder deal. Go Noles.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that, buddy, and thank you for the donation.
I wonder if Ira's going to pull me aside and be, hey, man, I know you like being a jerk, but we can't do this week. I wonder if I'll be muffled. I don't even know what I'm going to ask. I'm not going to ask Jim Phillips anything, man. Hey, what's it feel like to walk into a job that's got absolutely no future? What have you done? I read the story on ESPN about how it became to be with Southern Cal and UCLA going. And, they mentioned like Memphis is a school that's reached out, like Memphis. They talked about in that story about, when Texas and Oklahoma went, there was talk about maybe adding West Virginia and even Southern Cal, but a lot of the presidents didn't have a stomach for a coast-to-coast university. We still think maybe in the ACC that this is all going to be mom and pop and holistic and very wholesome. And everybody else is like, no, man, we're plundering. We don't care where your footprint is. So it's, I don't know, nuts. It's just going to be odd, man, because there's going to be, there can't be any expectation of a solid, optimistic, hopeful future for this conference. And we all have to go there and act like it is.
But so much of ACC Kickoff is talking to players and coaches, and you're not going to ask them about, hey, do you only think Florida State should get out of this grant of rights deal, find any way they can to try to void it? I mean, they're not going to have opinions on that. And by the time anything happens, they'll be out of school and these coaches will be somewhere else anyway. So it'll still be a lot of football content. The Jim Phillips stuff, after his 10-minute opening about all the Olympic sports the ACC is great at, and it gets down, every single question should be about expansion, what they're doing, and how do you keep these teams here? How do you keep these teams here? That's it. And the more I think about it, man, if Florida State could get North Carolina on board too, to leave, then you get 8 or 9 teams that say, we're all leaving together. You can't sue us all. I mean, I guess you could, but you're not going to have a conference without us. So I don't know how it all works. I'm not smart enough to figure it out, but North Carolina might be the key to the whole thing, because once they leave, the ACC is done.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that portion of kickoff where the commissioner does a State of the Union, and then it's largely kind of choreographed who gets to ask him questions. They might even be a little bit tighter on that. But yeah, when the players and the coaches are in that main ballroom, like you can ask any schlep there can raise their hand and get the microphone. But when Jim Phillips is up there, they don't. At least last time, like with John Swafford, was a very like, hey, Tom from the Greenville paper, the Charlotte Observer, and then our guy David Teal, who asks good questions though, by the way. But yeah, I agree with Corey. As soon as he's done saying his opening statement, it should all be like, all right, so who else is out there? Do we merge?
How is it viable? How is it viable for the teams in your conference? You want them to compete for championships, right? You want them to compete for playoff spots. How is it viable when you have this crappy a TV deal compared to everybody else? And it lasts for another 14 years. How is this viable? It's not. So what can you do to make these programs viable? Or are they just supposed to sit with their thumbs up their butt for the next decade and a half and then get out of this stupid contract? Is that we're just playing the waiting game till 2036? So I don't know if you could ask it that way. You might want to ask it a little more delicately than that, Aslan.
All right. Pinellas Kane. Hey guys, I'm a Kane fan, of course. You guys are sleeping on my family member Corbin. That touchdown run against Notre Dame was classic.
Yeah, Corbin's Jashawn's a good player, man. I wish he'd have come back. Where's he? Did he go with the Giants, Aslan? Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope he makes it, man. There's a lot at that position, especially being undrafted isn't the end of the world. They need bodies and they need dudes that are fast and run hard because the shelf life is so small. So hopefully he gets a shot and does well with it. You can't count on Barkley to be healthy.
Quantrell knows. If you had to choose a permanent rival when we move to the Big Ten or SEC, who would it be? Please don't say Kentucky. Lexington is overrated.
No chance. I would say Kentucky. What's a man? I'd say Vanderbilt. I like Nashville. That's fun. If you go to the Big Ten, I think I'd like it to be Michigan. And if you go to the SEC, I mean, does Florida count? Or are we going to change? Then I'd say
Georgia. Yeah, it's ridiculous that we don't play Georgia every year.
Or Auburn.
No.
Okay. Auburn and Florida State, man. I just grew up with that game. Yeah. They always played Florida State. They were always good games. Two programs kind of on the rise. There's some DNA there with those two programs that I wouldn't mind playing Auburn more. But yeah, Georgia would be a good one too. But Big Ten, it's got to be Michigan, right? You got any other?
I mean, if Ohio State and Florida State played on a neutral site, I would put a bail bond shop there and profit. It would just be chaos.
Yeah, you're
Florida
right.
State fans and Ohio State fans colliding would just be gross. But I would love to beat Ohio State. But gosh, I would hate to lose.
I think Florida State's 2-0 in their last two against Ohio State, 81 and 97.
Let's go. Kyle's back. We're really high on our safety combo right now, as we should be. Papa Clark, tell us, what's the best safety combo at Florida State ever?
Oh, man. I wish I'd Monk Bonasort and Keith Jones. Oh, Monk, they were good, man. Man, I'm trying to think. So I'm trying to think of 13. You had LaMarcus, right?
Yeah.
And Terrence Brooks.
Uh-huh.
I think both those guys are still in the league. That was a good one. What's his name? Dexter Jackson was great, but I can't remember who his partner was on the other side. And then I think like Derek Gibson was great, but then who was his guy on the other side? I don't know. There's got to be a one I'm not thinking of, but Terrence Brooks and LaMarcus Joyner's a really good one.
Kyler Hall, Pat Watkins, personally.
Kyler Hall, man, when he take your soul from you. Yeah. That's what they said about him, and then the game started.
By the way, that was a 4-foot land shark off Edisto Beach, according to Quay Watts, Charleston, South Carolina.
I think Kyler Hall's still a football coach. He's in coaching somewhere.
Yeah, he is.
Right?
He is. Yeah,
and he was a good player. Do you remember he had I think he had a pick in the Orange Bowl in the game they blew in 2002. I think he had an interception of Dorsey in that game.
Rob Krause gives a nomination to Devin Bush and Richard Coase.
Yeah, that's a good one. I still think, I don't think it's better than Brooks and Ramsey, but yeah, that's an honor. That's an honorable mention for sure. Old Devin Bush.
R. Wilmer, barring injury, does AJ Duffy get a start or is he redshirted?
Yeah. I don't think he gets a start, but I don't think he's redshirted either. Well, I don't know. I don't even know what the redshirt rules are anymore. I guess I should, But I think he will play at some point this year, probably in that first game. And then we'll see what that looks like. But so he could still redshirt even if he plays. But I think he's asking what's more likely, maybe.
Well, no,
because he's not going to start unless both guys go down. Would be my thought.
And that's correct. Alone Harrison paper. Geez. I think the Dallas Morning News said that there might have been conversation between SMU and the ACC, but Ira came in there and I think he said that that's not true, but there was a Texas school, so maybe TCU,
TCU or Baylor.
Yeah. Rob Krause wants to let everybody know we're currently, as we sit here live, we're Lamont Green Senior days away from kickoff.
Okay, all right. I thought Lamont Green was 40. He was 45. All right. Lamont Green Sr., by the way, was the #1 player in the country coming out of high school. He was like the defensive player of the year.
All right. Casey Owens, I saw a ranking that we were 19th in the country defensively. If we do, what ranked offense would we need to get to that? To get to 9 or more wins. A lot of 9-win people in the comment section today, Corey.
I would say top 40. A 19th ranked defense is like, that's good, man. That's like Wisconsin good. That's elite level defense. I hate saying that, folks. I know. We don't want to compare the defenses around here to Wisconsin, but man, that would be a huge step up these days. I would say if you have a top 20 defense and a top 40 offense, 9 wins is certainly doable. But either way, you've got to get in the top 40 in offense. You can't be hovering in the 60s and 70s and scoring 27 points a game. Can't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it, Aslan. Can't do it.
Can't coach with them. Can't win with them. Can't do it. William Flynn said there should be a feature called Choreographed.
Oh, there we go. And what would I do with it, though? Would it just be me dancing?
I don't know, but let's workshop that. I like that a lot.
That is good. I'm not great at graphs. Like, I don't know which one. I don't know which the x-axis is and the y-axis is. I know there are there, but I think the x might be going that's on the ground and y is going up, but I don't know. I don't know anything about graphs.
Brendan was saying, what about Nebraska as our permanent rival?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. That's a good one. That's a good one. It's just, that's a long drive. I was trying to think of, and it's, it's not really near anything. But FSU Nebraska would be good in the Big Ten. Harken us back to the old days, Aslan. And Nebraska never came to Florida State. Bowden always had to go out there and beat them a couple times when that was real Nebraska back then. But yeah, Nebraska never returned the favor. Didn't do it.
Do you know who is also on the back end with Leroy?
So, but his last year, Butler's last year, they made him a cornerback. So he was a safety in the pros, obviously, and a Hall of Famer. And he was a safety, I think, his first 2 years at Florida State. But that last year, they made him a corner. But I can't remember who the safety would have been back then. Would it have been like Bill Reagans? Bill Reagans might have been the safety, a former Leon High football coach, Bill Reagans.
What year are we talking? What's this? What, 89? I'm looking up. This is the roster.
Leroy Butler was 89 was when he was an All-American. 88 was when he did the punt Ruski. I think Reagans was the safety then. Man, it all runs together, folks. If you'd asked me 5 years ago, I could have named you the starting 22.
I think it was Bill Reagans. Yeah, 11 games played, 34 tackles. Look at you, Corey.
Stan Shiver. I think Stan Shiver's last year was 88, maybe. Oh, he could have played in 89 too. Does Stan Shiver play on that team? Come on, Aslan. Look it up, Aslan.
I'm there. Hold on. No.
Look it up.
He's not there. He does not appear on there. Rob Krause, imagine a world where we watch Pac-12 After Dark on the ACC network with Florida State clinching a bowl against Georgia Tech, then pouring a nightcap to watch Arizona versus Colorado.
Yeah, I've never I don't get the Pac-12 network, which is maybe the reason that USC and UCLA left. That would be awesome to watch. That's always been a fun part when you grew up with college football, especially of a certain time period. You'd go to your game that you watched. Usually Florida State would win. You'd go to dinner. You'd come back, and it'd be in the second quarter of a Pac-12 game. Pac-10 game back then. And that was awesome. Or a BYU game with Detmer thrown around everywhere. Those were the days, Aslan. Those were the days.
Philip Pettis asks, what are the chances we win the Atlantic?
10%. I mean, there's an avenue to it, right? It's just a hard schedule. You're at Miami and you're at NC State and you got Clemson at home. Those are probably the 3 best teams in the conference. You have to play them all, and 2 of them you have to play on the road. So it's a tough schedule. But it could happen. I mean, you're not scared of any of those teams. They're not unbeatable.
I mean, last year the teams that went were 7-1.
What?
You know, I mean, the teams that won their divisions. Pitt was 7-1 in conference, and Wake Forest 7-1.
Oh yeah, and you got Wake too. Oh, Wake, old sneaky Wake.
What do they got to play for? Their football program is going to be dissolved. They're just going to roll over.
Yeah, take their coach. Have their coach come with some of and just pay him. He doesn't. I mean, I assume when we get to this, there won't be limits on assistant coaches once we get to the super conferences. So he can just be an analyst for you.
It's going to have to be chaotic, and I think maybe that's why we want to win out in November, because maybe we'll be higher ranked in the college football playoff poll, which I think is the tiebreaker. Because I'm trying to go back and look through. Golly, Virginia made it in 19 with 2 losses. Pitt had 2 losses in 18.
I don't know that we need to go down this road right now. And I appreciate the question, Philip, but I mean, the odds of that, let's readdress that in middle of October and see if they still have a chance. It'd be cool if they just had a winning record in the ACC.
Yeah. Colby Herring says, who remembers Trey Marshall? Definition of a menace. We graduated together.
I remember him getting kicked out for targeting like 3 or 4 times, and only one of them was like legit. Yeah, that guy couldn't catch a break.
I wanted to make a GIF of Derwin James because I remember there was a Warchant TV during like photo time during preseason football where they handed the microphone to Derwin and he went around and interviewed everybody. And I thought the whole thing was like, stay tuned. Like, I think going into the 2017 season, the whole thing was like, stay tuned. And I wanted to use that kind of an ironic way. But I found that video and he doesn't say it in the video. So I don't know where it came from. Maybe I'm imagining it. But in that video, he starts, go and watch it. It's on our YouTube channel, the Warchant page. I mean, I just type in Derwin James, it'll come up. He just goes around and starts interviewing a lot of players. And he's like, he's ragging on a lot of his teammates. And it's really funny. But he goes up to Trey Marshall, like, hey, what's up? He's like, he gives everybody these awards. Like he gives somebody like the shower award because he never showers. He's like, I would give the targeting award to Trey Marshall. And he goes up to Trey and he puts the microphone in his face like, Trey, what's it feel like when your helmet lands on another man's helmet? And then Trey's like, man, get out of my face with that.
Yeah. There you go.
Also really funny because he goes and gives Dontavius Jackson the social media award. He's like, this guy can't live without social media. And he asks like a goofy question to Dontavius, who takes it really seriously and gives a very clumsy answer. Go check it out. I can't describe it well. It's must-see TV.
Hold on. Is it still on YouTube for us?
Oh yeah.
Is it still on our YouTube channel, Aslan?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
You know what? Let's watch together as we go out here. This is
no man. What are we doing? What are we doing?
What do you mean? What are we doing?
Put it in the comments and link to it.
I mean, I think we should watch it together. I think it's funny.
Come on, Aslan. Come on.
These people want to hang out with you, Corey Clark. They like hanging out with you.
I know, but I got to go to trivia. My life is coming to an end in 4 days, man. I can't spend the last 4 days of my life watching Derwin James interview Dontavius Jackson for 4 minutes.
That's great. It's great. All right. Anyhow, go check it out. It's on our YouTube page. Thanks everybody for asking your questions, your comments. Thanks to Ed and DeLuna Coffee. DeLunaCoffee.com. Go explore their world of coffee. Use the promo code WARCHANT15. Thanks to Mark. Thanks to James. Thanks to Shane. Thanks to Quay. Thanks to was it Brandon out there in Japan dropping yen on us? Did I say Mark? Did I thank Mark?
I think you did. You better thank him twice.
William McMillan also getting involved in the madness on our program here. So thanks to him as well. We'll do another show tomorrow, by the way, Corey. We're going to do Renegade Express. We'll turn it over to the subscribers. They can ask all their questions. And we'll have a Friday program for everybody. So in the meantime as well, don't forget Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock. So for Corey, I'm Aslan. Thank you for watching this edition of Wake Up Warchant. Hit the thumbs up on the way out, everybody. That'd be really cool.
And wish me luck. Keep wishing me luck. Keep me in your thoughts. Keep my gallbladder in your thoughts.
Send the good vibes. Good night, everybody.